"Hey, when have I ever messed up?" Logan complained. "It's pretty obvious that as soon as they find a student who has been missing for a while and comes back in tattered clothes from a planet that had suffered a Dalki attack, the first thing they would do is take him to the medical facility." It was something the others hadn't thought about. They had all been too busy and focused on their problems. They didn't think this through. As they took Peter to the medical facility, Haley went ahead and ran a general check on Peter's condition. She hooked Peter up to a large, tube-like machine. The machine would show his internals and display his insides, as well as see if there was something wrong with any of his organs, including his heart. This was where Logan's ability had come to its advantage. Logan was able to fake a sickness and enter the medical facility beforehand. During this time, he had touched every machine available there. While doing so, he had taken control of the machines. "It looks like you're in perfect condition," Haley said as Peter lifted him outside of the machine. "Now I just need to ask you a few questions." Logan had come up with a backstory that was plausible according to the situation. It detailed how the Dalki had attacked their group and he had run away, luckily escaping the fiasco. He traveled through the desert for many days, eventually reaching a shelter. The problem was, it was the wrong shelter. The shelter only had teleporters that linked to other planets, and none back to Earth or the military base, but he found out the shelter he had come from wasn't too far. He stayed until he regained his strength and purchased a map, leading him to the original shelter and eventually returned to the military base. Once the questioning was over, Haley left Peter to be with a soldier, guarding him as he rested, while she went off to report to Nathan. "So, how is the boy?" Nathan asked. "Thankfully, he seems to be in perfect condition health-wise, but—" Haley hesitated. "But what?" Nathan replied. "It seems like his mind isn't all there. Sometimes his response was quite rigid, and there seemed to be a lack of emotion. Pio didn't have any of these signs before, although this could be due to the trauma of being attacked by the Dalki." "That's great news," Nathan said. "As long as the student is fine, it'll be okay. We can inform his parents about the good news for now. Have him rejoin classes tomorrow." As Haley left the room, Nathan went to pick up the files on his desk as he read through them one by one. "An orange portal outing? What are they thinking?" Nathan said. It was late that night, and the others had left the room to go to sleep. Just before they left the room, Fex had spotted something on Logan's workbench. It was a square-shaped portable teleporter. While the others were busy saying their goodbyes while friendly chatting with each other, Fex decided to move closer to have a look. It looked like he had the square teleport device hooked up via some cables leading upward to the computer screen. "He can't be trying to crack the thing, can he? This is bad," Fex thought. As everyone headed back to their rooms, Fex managed to pull Quinn to the side just before they were about to part ways. "Just a little warning to you, Quinn. The device that Logan has been tinkering around with on his workbench, it's a portal leading back home. You need to do everything you can to stop him." Fex left after warning Quinn before he could even ask any questions. "What was that all about?" Quinn murmured. He then decided to carefully think about what Fex had said. By home, there could only be one place Fex was talking about. It was where the vampires came from. Still unsure whether or not that was somewhere on Earth or another planet, or at least a place hidden from the human eye. He understood that he needed to stop Logan before he figured it out. The only thing Quinn didn't understand was why Fex seemed so concerned. Quinn then thought of his first meeting with Fex. He mentioned something along the lines that he wasn't meant to be here. "If what you are thinking is along those lines, then I'm afraid the situation is worse," the system said. "Based on the boy's young age and at the same time, his great skill, it would be wise to assume he holds a high position in one of the vampire families. If he is not here on orders, then they will send others on his trail to retrieve him. We need to be careful." The next day, the first-year students were called into the assembly hall for a meeting once again. Nathan walked onto the stage. "Okay, I'm not one for speeches, so let's get to the point," Nathan said. "This year the military has decided to expand their operation and get more aggressive in planetary explorations," Nathan explained. "So, what does that mean for you guys? Well, instead of the normal green portal, you guys get to jump ahead and explore an orange portal instead." Hearing the news, the students suddenly broke into gossip. "An orange portal this soon? I thought they only did that with the second years. Why would they do this to us, especially after the Dalki attack?" "Silence!" Nathan shouted. "Don't worry, there will be 2 sergeants sent out with you on this journey. Leo, head of the Beast Weapon class, and Faye. Faye then took over and walked to the podium. You will remain in your teams of 5 while traveling in the larger group of 50. Each team will be given a certain device that would be used to survey the land and map out the terrain. The data recorded will be used to automatically create a world map and other maps for future use on the planet. More details will be explained once the devices have been given to you. The hall of students quickly shifted around, with everyone getting into the same groups they were in before. Quinn, Vorden, and Layla remained in one group. Peter, now known as Pio, had decided to come over to join Quinn's group. So what do we do about the 5th person? Vorden inquired. As Quinn looked around the room, he noticed once again that Fex was all on his own. Seeing this, Quinn shouted, "Fex, come join us over here." Fex came rushing over towards the others. "I guess you guys realized how lame your group is," Fex said, his tone indicating that he was proud of himself. "So you immediately needed me to boost it up a level. Well, if you insist." Upon hearing that, an awkward smile made its way to Quinn's face. He merely wanted to be close to Fex, hoping he would eventually learn more about the vampire world. While everyone was huddled up in their groups, there seemed to be 3 stray students that had walked up to the front of the assembly hall, going straight to stand by Faye's side. As she looked into the crowd of people, she started to look at each of the groups. Every single one of them was already filled with 5 people. "You there, and you." She surveyed the room one more time, and her eye had managed to capture Vorden. "And you. You can head to those at the back," she said. Vorden was the one with the most knowledge in the group, and he was saying how it varied from place to place. The orange portal was amidst 2 stages. Once the whole planet had been explored, they would use the information that they had gathered to update its status to green or red. Just then, a voice echoed loudly within the hall. "Hello?" Sia said as she entered the circle. "You," Vorden replied, shocked that he saw Sia. "What are you doing here?" "Sergeant Faye has asked me to join your team," Sia explained. Right now, everyone in their team knew of each other's abilities. However, Sia knew nothing. If she was to join the team, it would only slow them down. Sia then looked at each of the members. "So I'm already acquainted with the hottie and puppy eyes over there," she said, referring to both Vorden and Layla. "But what about the rest of you?" Then she pointed at each one of them as she continued to provide them with nicknames. "Average Joe over there," pointing to Quinn. "Dead Eyes," pointing to Peter. "And..." When she got to Fex, she paused slightly. "Go on then," Fex said. "Compliment me on my good looks." "Arrogant young master type," she said. Sia looked defeated and appeared like she didn't want to be in the group at all. Not realizing that they felt the same way, "Well, we better get to introducing everyone then. If we have to work as a team, I guess the first thing we need to know is about everyone's abilities, right?" Sia asked. When the question asking about their abilities arose, everyone in the circle was a bit hesitant to answer. "I don't have an ability," Quinn quickly answered. All the while, after seeing this, she quickly ignored him and moved on to the next person. Quinn was fine with this. "I already know Layla's, and most people learned about that pretty boy after the event with the second years in the assembly hall. That means I just need to know yours," Sia said as she looked at Peter. Peter then gave Sia a rather uncordial glance, since he wasn't in a great mood. What annoyed him wasn't Sia's attitude towards him, but her disregard for Quinn, his master. "I can show you firsthand if you want," Peter said, raising his fist. "Peter!" Quinn snapped. So Peter immediately put his fist down and went back to his master's side. "What the hell was that all about?" Sia asked in bewilderment. "Don't you think you should tell us your ability first before asking for ours?" Vorden questioned. "Well, my ability will be a little hard to explain, so why don't I just show you?" Sia looked at all the people in the group. At first, she would have tried using her ability against Peter. However, judging by how he acted, she didn't want to do that now. Out of all the people in the group, there seemed to be one target that stood out as the weakest. As Sia lifted her hand, smoke gradually appeared on top of her palms. The smoke was colored in the shade of blue that the skies had. It started to form a certain shape. Its body was similarly hued to the smoke. After a brief window, a pointed blade emerged on one end of the fully formed thin rod. The final product was a short spear, spanning half of Sia's height, made of animate smoke. Without warning, she looked towards her target and threw the spear. It flew through the air and managed to hit Quinn dead in the chest. "Quinn!" Layla shouted. "Are you okay?" When the spear had made contact with Quinn, he felt no pain. Although he could feel the object piercing him, it didn't seem to have inflicted any physical damage. No bruises, scratches, or holes where blood could trickle. Still, there was definitely an effect. Part of his energy felt like it was being absorbed by the weapon. It was a similar feeling to when he was out in the sun, only a lot weaker. Finally, the notification sound was heard. "You have been affected by Spirit Spear. All stats have been reduced by 10%. "What did you do to me?" Quinn said, his anger evident in his voice that became a bit deeper. The others had never seen Quinn like this before, so they were stunned. Meanwhile, filled with rage, Quinn started to walk toward Sia. Right now, Quinn was unsure what Sia's skill was. All he knew was it had reduced his stats by 10%. If this was a permanent effect, then he would have lost a lot of hard work. "Is this guy really a level 1? Sia thought, as she looked into the anger that was swimming in Quinn's eyes. She wasn't sure if she imagined it or not, but she thought she could see the color of his eyes slowly starting to turn red. "Hey, Quinn, relax," Vex said as he jumped in between the two of them before Quinn could even act. He then leaned forward and whispered to Quinn, making sure his body and head were blocking Sia from seeing him. "Quinn, your eyes, they're red. You need to control your anger and calm down," Vex advised. However, as Quinn thought about how hard he had worked to gather those stat points and them going away just like that, his anger started to boil again. "Spirit Spear has worn off. Stats have returned to normal." The spear that impaled his chest slowly dissipated into thin air, and the energy seemed to return to his body. At the same time, his mind was suddenly cleared along with his anger. "Hey, did you really think I would hurt you in front of all these teachers and students? It looks like I've joined a team of crazy people," Sia complained. "A support ability?" Vorden said. Sia simply nodded as a response to Vorden's query. "It allows the user to form spirit weapons in their mind. When this spirit hits its target, it can either act as a buff or debuff. When my ability hits, it is able to debuff the target for 5 seconds, and then the effect wears off. Because I'm only a level 3, though, the amount of time the spear lasts is only 3 seconds, and the distance I can throw the spear is quite short." The others didn't want to admit it, but having Sia on the team would be a great addition. Support-type abilities were greatly sought after. "Anyway, it looks like this group won't amount to much," Sia uttered. "So why don't we just meet up on the day of the portal outing? There's no point training together within the 2 days left prior to the expedition." "I agree. Why don't we all do our own thing before the portal outing? It's been a tiring week, and I think some of us can do with some rest," Quinn said. Before the others could even say anything, Sia was already walking off. The assembly had ended, and students were told that, until the portal outing, they would have the next 2 days off. While everyone was busy doing their own business, Quinn had arrived at the VR gaming room. With the nanostick that had been given to him, he no longer needed to bug Logan. Accordingly, he headed to his room in order to use the private servers. "Now, let's see what you got. Tutorial video for skill Phantom Hit has begun."
Hi, Quinn here. Wondering what happens next? If you want to jump the queue and unleash all episodes, click on the link here and install the Pocket FM app.